What are the 6 biggest surprises to me this year in NCAA wrestling? I'm going to get into it right now, starting with number 6, Mr. Quiet Twitch, Mr. Under the Radar, AJ Ferrari. We haven't seen much of him. We haven't seen him against the elite competition. AJ appears to be on his best behavior. He's been wrestling. He's been winning. He hasn't lost anyone. But we haven't seen him in any real dust-ups of any kind, nor have we seen him against, more importantly, and what I'm most focused on, we haven't seen him against the elite of the elite competition. He hasn't faced a top 10 wrestler yet. So we still are kind of wondering, like, hey, what version of AJ Ferrari are we getting? Is this the 2021 NCAA champion version? Is this a notch below? Is this a notch better? I still think the jury is still out. We don't know for sure. And tougher matches are potentially on the way. He could see Trey Munoz against Oregon State. He could see Stephen Little at Pac-12s and in that dual meet. But other than those two guys, he's not going to see any other top 10 wrestlers on his schedule. So I have a feeling if he runs the table going into NCAAs, we're going to go into the tournament still wondering, is AJ back? Is he ready to defend his title? I don't know. I still am not sure. You all know he's my pick to win NCAAs. I'm getting more and more nervous the less I get to see him against elite competition. And he's remained very under the radar this year. Very unlike AJ Ferrari. So that's my number 6 biggest surprise. Number 5, Zeth Romney, staying out west. The Cal Poly 33-pounder has been a monster this year. He went from a ranked guy to a bona fide, unquestionable title contender at 133 pounds. I did not think that would happen. You look at his run at Cliff Keen, Las Vegas. He beat Bouzakis. He beat Frost. He beat Van D. Really good guys. Then he followed it up last week with a pin over last year's 4th place finisher, Nasir Bailey. This guy can really wrestle from everywhere. Great pressure on his feet. He's tough to... wrestlers have a hard time getting to his legs. He's got good, consistent attacks. He's really big for the weight. And as you saw last weekend against Nasir Bailey, really tough from the top position. This guy can win it all. And when you combine that with the fact that 133 is not really what we thought it was coming into the year. Nasir Bailey has kind of fallen off. Dylan Ragusin out for the year. Ryan Crookham has only wrestled 5 matches, and he's going to be out for a while for Lehigh. This weight is really open. We hope Lehigh's Ryan Crookham heals up and gets healthy, but even still, I'm not counting out Zeth Romney as a title contender here at 133. Didn't see that coming. Number 4, I'm calling it the little Penn State guys. And they're not really little, but I thought they would be a little small for the weight. And that's Tyler Kasak and Josh Barr. And we saw last year with Tyler Kasak, he actually started the year at 141. Then he went up to 149, and he got 3rd. Amazing true freshman campaign. But then he was coming up to 157, and I thought, okay, I think he can for sure place again. But how high? Maybe not too high. Well, he's undefeated. He's been pretty dominant this year. He beat Keller in the All-Star Classic, and there's no question he's a guy that can win a national title this year. He's not maybe the biggest 57, but he's certainly big enough. And then you got Josh Barr at 197. He wrestled all last year at 184 pounds. And then he made the U20 World Team at 86 kilograms or 189 pounds. So I didn't think he was going to be big enough because you got Buchanan and you've got AJ and you've got Cardenas. Is he going to be big enough to contend with those guys? Can he beat the Stephen Littles? So far the answer is yes, and we saw major Michael Beard, who has been a mainstay at 197. He's not undersized. He's sized perfectly fine. I thought those guys would be good. I thought they could place. I didn't think I would be saying, hey, both these guys are legitimate title contenders at their respective weight classes. And of course, Penn State has always done a good job of guys moving up in weight class and having success. I just didn't think they would be this good right away at these weight classes. So Tyler Kasak, Josh Barr, definitely big surprises in how well they're wrestling up at weight class. 3rd biggest surprise, Angelo Ferrari is a legitimate option for the Iowa Hawkeyes this year. I did not think that coming into the year. I thought, yes, he's good. I thought certainly he's ready to compete. But when Coach Brands, leading into the Soldier Salute, said, hey, we got 2 great options there, well, that means Angelo's an option. If you have 2 great options, it's Gabe Arnold and Angelo Ferrari. And I thought coming in that Gabe was the obvious pick, the obvious choice, just because he had already redshirted and Angelo hasn't. But through the Soldier Salute and maybe even afterwards, it became less clear to me that that's the case. So Angelo Ferrari, there's no question. I'm taking Coach Brands at his word. He's an option this year for the Iowa Hawkeyes, and I didn't see that coming. Number 2, Oklahoma State's nearly perfect start. I mean, this is a team that, let's be honest, coming into this year, there wasn't any question that this was a really good team with a lot of All-American and potentially national champion contenders. The cupboard was not bare for Coach David Taylor when he got here. No doubt about it. The previous staff had put together a really nice roster. But you look at their dual performance and their tournament performance, there's been very few down performances. I mean, you look at what they did at Cliff Keen, Las Vegas, placing all 10 and placing all 10 very high, 9 in the top 3. What? That's insane. That does not happen at Cliff Keen, Las Vegas. But they did that. And then you look at their dual performance, dominating a very good Virginia Tech team. They just dominated NC State. It's really been a flawless start, really. Now, the level of competition is going to increase as they get through conferences, as they wrestle the Iowa Hawkeyes. But what you normally see, even with the best of the best teams, you see them get upset and knocked off and maybe falter or have just a down performance. Not a bad one, just a down. We haven't seen that yet with Coach Taylor's Cowboys. They have been, success is not a surprise, but the level of almost near perfection, winning 9 out of 10 against NC State and just losing to the great Vince Robinson from NC State at 125. Other than that, they've been really, really good and a very impressive start for Coach Taylor's Cowboys. But my number one biggest surprise, this was a jaw drop moment because this guy was literally on the Buffalo Bills team, preseason team in the fall. And then next thing you know, well, now Gable Steveson is wrestling. And it was a welcome surprise because wrestling is just better when Gable Steveson is a part of it. And it's not too often you get to watch a wrestler of his caliber. I think he's a one-of-a-kind wrestler. And the fact that he's back on the mat, that we see him in NCAAs, and hopefully, fingers crossed, back on the freestyle mat, that's a huge surprise. It's a great surprise, and it's one that I think almost every wrestling fan was excited to see. So that was my 6 biggest surprises this year. Which ones did I miss? What do you think the biggest surprise so far this year has been in NCAA wrestling?